Hey everybody, Baby Rizzo here to the Void once more with me, and, well, from the Void comes the Call of Cthulhu. Now, this one's a much shorter film, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk as at length with this one, but it has some things that make it a little interesting. Now, it's all of 47 minutes, so it's a very short movie, and it's a black and white silent film. Now, this one was actually made in 2005, but essentially, with the Call of Cthulhu being like the flagship H.P. Lovecraft story, one of the things they wanted to do is try to make this film using in the style of and with the techniques available to people in the 1920s. So it was done silent, all the effects are practical, oh, and they pretty much had to make do on that, and they use some stop motion as well as some other interesting camera effects to achieve, well, some very interesting shots. For example, all the ocean scenes are more or less done with, I think it's sheets and cardboard to simulate water. And with the black and white and kind of a gradient that they have on it, it looks pretty convincing, actually. Now, that said, it does make it look, well, it does have the feel of a 1920s silent movie, so it's not for everyone, and that's one of the main issues here also. Now, Call of Cthulhu is made by the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, and it's essentially made by fans for fans. And because of that is actually its kind of weakness, because if you're not already a fan of Cthulhu and anything related to that, this movie really won't win you over. If you are a fan, it's a very fascinating thing to look at. But you already have to be somewhat invested in it to get it. So that does kind of detract overall. But if you are interested, there's some really cool scenes, and the stop motion Cthulhu effects are worth it alone. Now, story wise, it's pretty much the most accurate adaptation of the story, The Call of Cthulhu, as you can get. It pretty much even breaks itself down into three component chapters, and if anyone doesn't know the story, one, I do suggest reading it. I actually don't think it's H.P. Lovecraft's best story, but it does have a lot of interesting aspects to it. So it's essentially after a earthquake happens, many people begin seeing visions, and a bunch of strange phenomena happens. Then, about a month later, all of a sudden, it stops. Now, an artist began having terrible nightmares and sculpting things in his dreams. A then a police detective noticed an uptick in cult activity and brought back a strange idol from the cultists he busted. And finally, a ship found crashed upon an island that shouldn't have been there, with where the geometry just wasn't right, and well, something on the island woke up. All this is kind of bookended by a man who was going through his great uncle's. Well, his great uncle recently passed, and he was trying to put his affairs in order and found his research into the Cthulhu cult, which is where he finds all this information. And so he's realizing that now that he's learned so much about Cthulhu, he might not be left alive for much longer either. So it's a fun movie if you are into this sort of thing or want to see something in the really old school. But because of those tactics, it's an interesting bit of filmmaking. But if you're not into film or not into Lovecraft, it probably won't win you over because it is slow and it is 45 minutes. It does feel a little longer than that. And, well, the effects are cool, but story-wise, it's not the strongest story overall, and it still doesn't translate perfectly to film. It works as a good companion piece to the book, rather than standing alone as a movie. But at all of 47 minutes, it's a quick sit. So if you're the least bit curious, it won't take long. And I will say they kind of went above and beyond. And since it's a silent movie, they put it out in 24 languages for the intercuts. Apparently, in addition to English, they have it in Catalan, Croatian, Czech, Danish, Dutch, Euskera, Finnish, French, Galician, German, Hungarian, Irish, Italian, Lithuanian, Luxembourgish, Norwegian, Polish, Portuguese, Romanian, Spanish, Swedish, Turkish, and Welsh. So anyone can really have a good chance at seeing this movie and getting something out of it. I mean, well, that's not all the languages, but that's more than most. The acting is fine. It's nothing standoutish. They do a good job expressing with their faces. I've seen other silent movies, and it does pretty well at holding up to that. But the score works very well. The music is perfectly sets the mood for this. Yeah, I knew this one's going to be a little shorter because it's a short movie. There's not much to talk about. I only give it 3 MacGuffins. While it is a good adaptation, it fails to stand on its own and will not bring in any new audiences. So 3 out of 5 is the best I give it. I particularly enjoy it, but like I've said in past videos, I'll eat anything Lovecraft up. So this one, it's good. But key underscoring with you already have to like the story to like this. Okay, that's all for today, I believe, and I'll continue my counting down some of my more enjoyed movies for the month, and before I really shift gears next month. Oof. Well, take care.